So good at
I'm
sports.
so good at football, it's crazy.
It is
I
crazy.
can throw the longest football, and this is literally insane.
All right, here we go.
My brother used to play football, so my dad and my brother teach me how to play football.
Good. All right, problems 1, 2, 3, and 4 on page 3. We need to plug in. They tell us that a is equal to -2. That a is equal to -2, and they tell us that b is equal to 3, so you're substituting them in. So problem number 1, you have a to the third, so it's going to be -2 to the third, and b to the second, which is 3 to the second. So that's going to, if I do this math right here, I get -8. If I do this math right here, I get 9. That comes out to -72. Okay? As you progress through, problem number 2 is a squared. Notice I'm putting this in parentheses and b squared. So why do you think I'm putting this one in parentheses and I'm not putting this one in parentheses? You know?
Because you have to carry over like the negative.
Yeah, I'm plugging in for a. I'm plugging the -2 in. Okay, and it's the same reason here. And then this 3, I could put it in parentheses, it'd be fine, but that's not necessary. So I get 4 here plus 9, so that comes up with 13. And then number 3, we have a number that's already given to us, it's -40. And then we have a to the -3 power. Okay, so a is going to be -2. Now, will this exponent negative and this make it positive if I multiply them together somehow? A negative exponent will not change the base of the number. Okay? What does this negative exponent mean here? What does the problem want to do with that? What does the negative exponent need to do? Look up above in the properties of exponents. It's x to the n equals 1 over x to the n. What does that negative exponent? What does this negative exponent right here do to the -2? It does not make it positive. So the -40 is in the appropriate spot. Why is it now a +3 down there? I did remove the negative, but I can't just ignore negative. What property did I do? I what? I didn't divide it. Yes, Sam? Yeah, so what happened was this right here, because this portion is raised to a negative exponent, it's going to move everything down. It's going to switch its location. Right now, that -2 to the -3 power is sitting in the numerator. Okay, remember yesterday we said we could make any number a fraction by putting it over 1. So right now it's a numerator. So now it moves down here. So how many -2's am I multiplying together now? 3 of them. So I have -2 times -2 is +4. +4 times -2 is what? So this is -2 times -2 times -2. Negative times negative times negative is a what kind of answer? Negative. 2 times 2 times 2 is what? 8. So I get -8. So I get -40 over -8. That's 5, doesn't it? All right, let's extend that page. All right, number 4, we have a to the third, b to the third, over a squared, b squared. Okay, first item. Are any of the exponents on that part of the problem negative? I said exponents. Are any exponents negatives? No. I have negative bases, agree? But negative bases don't switch location. Okay, so let's go through and do the math. Okay, negative 2 is going to stay as is for right now. What is 3 times 3 times 3? 27. Okay. What is negative 2 times negative 2? Positive 4. And then what is 3 times 3? 9. Okay, let's do a little bit more math. Negative 2 times 27 is negative 54 over 36. And then we could reduce the fraction. I'd say 9 goes into both. 9 goes into 54. What is that? Negative 6 times. And 9 goes into 36 4 times, so that's a negative 6 over 4. I can continue to reduce that in kind of a roundabout way. Let's see. Negative 3 over 2 is my answer. So make sure you're okay on reducing fractions. Okay, it's a skill that you would have done. All right. 5 through 12, we start getting into what happens when we have a negative exponent. Okay? Okay. And again, treat this homework too. I know I came by and marked it, but treat it as your notes because you can refer to it. So I said you can make any number a fraction by putting it over 1. Agree? So what does that 4 to the negative 2 do? What is that negative exponent going to do to the 4? It's going to what? Yeah, so actually what happens is I put that 1 down there as a placeholder, so the 4 comes downstairs like that. Okay? Now, I don't want you to confuse this because it's two different properties, but it's easy to confuse. This fraction does not flip over. The 4 to the negative 2 moved down to the denominator, giving us 4 to the second. What number do we put in as a placeholder? What number do we always put in as a placeholder? 1. Okay? So this fraction didn't flip. This 1 is still here. That 1 is still there. Okay? I don't need to list it. It's kind of overkill. But I want to make sure you understand that it doesn't just flip the whole fraction over. That did not take place. The 4 had to move down, and being there was nothing left on top, we had to move it. All right, so 4 squared is 16, so I get 1 over 16. All right, let's see. Write each expression as a rational expression with positive exponents. Oh, we're done here. The direction said just to write it as positive exponents. Okay? Problem number 6. I have x to the 3rd power. So the answer to number 6 is 1 over x to the 3rd. Because the negative exponent would have moved it, because the x to the negative 3 is like that, and the x to the negative 3 says move it down. Okay? Number 7, I got x to the 5th and y to the negative 3. Which letter has the negative exponent? The y. So the y needs to move locations. X to the 5th is fine where it's at. So if I move y to the 3rd down, I'm going to wind up with an answer that looks just like this. And that's done. Okay? So please remember, you can write anything as a fraction by putting it over 1, and then you just go from there. What happens on number 8? I'm going to write the answer up, and you tell me what just happened. That's the answer. It did flip, so technically the x to the negative 3 moved down, because it was on top originally. The y to the negative 2 moved up. Is that okay so far up to number 8? Again, are you making the adjustments on your paper? Are you showing that we practiced? You can utilize it, go back to it, refer to it. Number 9. Which letter has the negative exponent? Y. Which letter has an exponent of 0? X. What is x to the 0? 1. It is not 0. It is 1. Okay? What's going to go here? What moves down? What stays up top? Yeah, z squared stays on top, and the y moves down. Now, you can clean this up if you wanted to, and you can say it's z squared over y to the 6th. The only difference is I didn't have a 1 out there. I didn't know if I needed it as a placeholder. But does everyone see where the 1 came from? The 1 came from this x to the 0 power. Any number or letter other than 0 raised to the 0 is equal to 1. 0 to the 0 is an undefined term. Okay? Number 10. 3 over y to the negative 8. What term wants to move from its location? The y. The 3 is content where it's at. So if I move the y up, my answer results in this. Okay? Technically, it's like that right now, but we don't put everything over 1. We just keep it like that. Number 11. X squared, will it move? No, it's pretty content where it's at. Okay? Will y squared move? Yeah, what's it going to do? Where's it going to go? It's going to move down. Will z squared move? Yeah, it's going to move up. Where's the w to the 0 power? It's 1, right? So do I have to write it? Where would that 1 exist if I did write it? On the top or on the bottom? On the bottom, because y to the 0 is not positive or negative. It's going to stay there. Okay, so that's our answer, number 11. Number 12. Okay, is the 6 happy where it's at? Is the 4 happy where it's at? Why not? Or why? The 4 has a negative exponent? No, the 4 has no exponent at all right now. It's fine. Now, quick question. Can I reduce the 6 and the 4? Yeah, what does 6 over 4 reduce to? 3 over 2. Okay? Now, you told me the 6 was happy. The 6 reduces to 3. The 4 was happy. It reduces to a 2. Okay? Will anything be moving? What will? X. X needs to move up. Agree? What about Y? Stays where it's at. What about Z? Moves up. Bless you. So I can put Z to the first, or I can just leave it as Z. It's your choice if you want to have Z to the first. But you can just have it as Z. That means the same thing. Does that make sense? So we reduce the fraction. The 6 and the 4 didn't have to switch because they didn't have a negative exponent, but I had to reduce them. That's the front page. Is there anything that I need to clarify a little more for you that I missed up on? You okay with it? Did you make appropriate notes? Go ahead. 11. Where are you at? You're okay that this is 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The x squared doesn't move, stays on top.
Mm-hmm.
The z squared moves up because there was a negative on the bottom, a negative exponent on the bottom. The y to the negative 2 on top needs to move down because it was negative.
So if it switches places, it's the negative exponent.
It moves to the top to the bottom or the bottom to the top, depending upon the negative exponent. And you have to make sure you know what base it is. All right. We're good still? Up through 12? First page? Happy? All right. Let's see. 13 through 24 says, use the properties of exponents to simplify each expression. Answers should be rational expressions with positive exponents. Number 13, tug of war, yes?
Yeah.
So who wins, top or bottom? Top, by how many?
2.
So 2 squared is my answer. Could I make that as a 4? Sure, it's your choice. I'll take either answer. 14. What is taking place on number 14? I have negative exponents, correct? So y to the negative 2 winds up where? To the bottom. Y to the negative 5 winds up where? On top. Is it now a tug of war problem? Who wins, top or bottom? Top, I have many. 3. Can I leave it like that, or do I have to put it over 1? It's your preference, right? $15. Do I have any negative exponents at all? No. Looks like it's going to be tug of war. Who's going to win on x's, top or bottom? Top, I have many. 3. As far as the y's go, who wins, top or bottom? Bottom, by how many?
3.
Can I reduce those? No. I have an x and I have a y. They are unlike. Different letters, even though they both are to the third power. 16. Do I have any negative exponents? No. So we're going to have a tug of war with the x's, but what do we have to do with the 3 and the 6 first? Yeah, reduce it. So 3 over 6 reduces to what? 1 over 2. Tug of war with the x's. Who wins, top or bottom? Top, by how many? 2. Can I leave it as 1x squared over 2, or can I write it as x squared over 2? I'd say both answers are fine. I would prefer that one, but if you had a 1 sitting out in front, you're not wrong. I'm not going to take points away. 15, 16. We good so far? 17. There's kind of a lot that's taking place. Agree? That's why there's 7, right? Before I start going through the problem, I'm going to ask a few things. Item 1. Is there a fraction up there that needs to be reduced numerically? What? So will 12 and 8 reduce? Everyone okay if we said that? What number goes into both 12 and 8? 4. So this is going to reduce to 3 over 2 so far. You okay with that? Now that's all I looked at so far. Next thing I'm going to look at, tug of war with the x's. And I can go right to tug of war with the x's because neither one's a negative exponent. Agree? So what happens with the tug of war with the x's? It's a tie, so they cancel each other out, right? So we don't have to write them anymore. Okay? Can I do a tug of war with the y's? Why not? One of them is negative. Does everyone agree with that? Okay, so that bottom y to the negative 5 needs to move. Is it going to move up? If it moves up, I have y to the 7th already up on top. And then I have a y to the 5th. What is y to the 7th, y to the 5th? Like bases being multiplied, we add the exponents. Y to the what? 12. Okay, so let me just pause there. Take a look. Is there an understanding that you see that this here moved up? And if that moved up, do you see why it's y to the 12th? All right? All right, what else we have? Oh, what happens with this? Becomes 1. So technically, I could put a 1 right there. Do I need to put a 1 up on top? Is it holding the place for anything? We already have stuff on top, so we don't need it. So what's on bottom? Z to the 3rd. And we can just leave it like that. This won't go any further. Okay? I talked through that. Hey, number 18, just cross it out. We got extra letters in there. I'm not going to worry about number 18. It was a misprint somehow. But let's go to number 19, okay? So number 19. Okay. Two x's grouped together. Agreed? How many two x's are existing on top right now? There's three of them. Why is there three of them? Because the whole group of it is raised to the third power. Okay, so let's just do this. Well, I'm just going to pull this aside. This is 2x, 2x, 2x. Is that okay? So let's figure this out. What 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, and then x times x times x is x to the third. So this is going to become 8x to the third. So you see how we made that change? I still have other things up top. It's still an x and a y to the third over 4x to the seventh. Why? But I wanted to take care of that first grouping. Now some people will say, hey, let's combine things together, which is fine. I don't think we have to. I think we can look at the 8 and the 4 first, and we could probably reduce it. 8 over 4 reduces to what? 2. So is the 2 on the top or on the bottom? Is the 2 on the top or the bottom? Top, okay. All right, now, see if you can follow me on this. How many x's are on top right now? 4. Agree? Because if I were to combine this and this, there would be 4. Now let's do a tug of war with the x's. There's x to the 4 on top. There's 4, x, 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 on x, 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 x on top. How many x's are on bottom? 7. Tug of war. Who wins, top or bottom? Bottom by how many? By 3. Okay. Tug of war with the y's. Who wins, top or bottom? By how many? 2. Because that's the first, right? There's my answer. We doing okay? Am I going too quick? Okay, can I move to number 20? Number 20. Okay, so let's just take a quick look at it. Now, first question, don't answer too quick. Think about this first. I have a negative 30 on top. Does that mean that negative 30 needs to move to the bottom? No, it's not a negative exponent. It's a negative number. Agree? Bless you. So I'd say my whole answer is probably going to be negative because I have negative 30 over 15. What is negative 30 over 15 reduced to? Negative 2. Good. Everyone good with that so far? So we just took care of this portion here and here. Is that okay? Okay. Now I do have some negative exponents, which is fine. Let's see. I have x to the negative 4 on top. Where does it go? Down. Do I have a negative exponent on x on bottom? That moves up. No. So the x to the negative 4 on top moved down to join an x on bottom. How many x's are on the bottom now? Good. X to the 5th on bottom. Okay, does everyone understand where that came from? All right. What about the y's? What's going on with both of the y's? They're both negative, so they're going to flip-flop. Good, right? So y to the 9th would have moved up. Y to the 7th would have moved down, right? Now I'm just having this as a little work over here, but we'll add it to the rest of our answer. It'll be right there. Does everyone feel comfortable with how those y's flip-flopped? Okay? Tug of war with the y's. Who wins, top or bottom? Top by how many? 2. All right. Are the z's content where they're at? Neither are going to move top to bottom, bottom to top. Okay, they're good. Tug of war with the z's. Who wins? Top or bottom? Bottom by how many? 2. Okay, we've gone up through number 20. We have 4 problems left. How do you feel? Does it feel like something that's some of the questions you might have been coming across when doing your homework are like, oh, okay. That's how it went through. And it's recorded too, so if you need to, you can go back if you want. 21. Can I go to a 21 yet? Okay, negative 5x to the 5th times 3y to the 6th times negative 4x to the 4th. Okay. Item number 1. Do I have any negative exponents? No, so nothing's going to move down. So this is going to stay as just a, won't be a fraction as an answer. Is that okay for me to say that? So we don't have any negative exponents. Let's see. A negative 5 times a positive 3 is a negative 15. Agree? A negative 15 times a negative 4, negative times negative is positive. 15 times 4 is 60. Okay? Do I have x's that I can combine together? I have this one and I have this one. X to the 5th, x to the 4th. Like bases being multiplied together, we count up the exponents. How many exponents do we have? X to the 9, good. What happens to this? Does it cancel? Does it fly away? Do we ignore it? No, it comes down. That little stepbrother shows up that you don't really want to hang out with you. 22. Times 3c to the negative 25. Okay. Hey, I have some power to a power. Exponents on top of each other. What happens when you have exponents on top of each other? They multiply. Okay, so those multiply, it gives me c to the 10th, agree? These multiply, that gives me c to the what? C to the 12th. What? And then I have this 3. That's going to come along. That 3 doesn't have a negative exponent, so I'm just going to pull it out front here. Is that okay? What happens to the c to the negative 25th? Where does it go? Stay on top or does it move on bottom? Bottom. Okay. All right, so 3 is going to come along and be part of the answer. I'm good with that. Now let's see if we can walk through this, see if we can figure this out. How many c's do I have on top? I have like bases with exponents, so I add the exponents. So how many c's are on top? 22. Everyone agree? Okay, so I have c to the 22 on top, c to the 25th on bottom. Tug of war, who wins, top or bottom? Bottom by how many? 3. There's my answer. Let's skip 23. We got some random G in there. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it's not supposed to be G. And we'll get to 24. Oy, oy. Kind of a lot there, huh? And this was raised to the 4th here. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. All right. What do you think? how many of these that I'm circling in yellow, I know it's kind of dim, how many of those do I actually have? 4. Would you agree with that? I have an outside exponent of 4. So that yellow circled region, I actually have 4 of those. Now, are there things that are sticking out that might move or might become 1 on that first yellow? What do you think? What's 1? Where's the 1? Yeah, this is going to become your value of 1. Okay, so we can kind of ignore that. How many of this yellow region do we have? 4. So that means I have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. So I'm going to have a 16 on top so far, and I'm just working with the first group. What is that b to the minus 4 going to do? It's going to move down. So this is going to move down here. So how many b's are on bottom right now? 7. Okay? So I have, if that moves down, that means that down here in this region, I'm going to have b to the 7th. And how many of the yellows did we have? 4. So I have b to the 7th, b to the 7th, b to the 7th, b to the 7th on bottom. So I definitely have a b on the bottom. Like bases that I'm multiplying, I add the exponents. 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7. 28. Okay? We're only done with the first part. Let's look at this. How many of these do I have? 3. Okay? I do have some negative exponents we could talk through, but I think we'll be able to decipher this. Okay, first thing I want to take care of is let's take care of this 3 right here. How many 3's do I have? How many 3's do I have on this problem? 3. So 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. Is that all right so far? Okay. What's going to happen with our b's? Does one move? Do both move? One of them moves. So this is going to move down, agreed? So I'm going to have what on bottom? If that moves down, what do I have on bottom as far as b's go? B to the 6th. How many of these did I have altogether? 3. So that gives me b to the 6th, b to the 6th, b to the 6th. Like bases, add exponents. 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18. So I have b to the 18 on bottom. Is that all right so far? All right. What's going to happen with this a here? It's going to move up. So how many a's are on top now? 7. How many of these did I have starting out? 3. So I have a to the 7, a to the 7, a to the 7. Like bases multiply, I add the exponent, so I have a to the 21. So now I have to figure out what to do with these two fractions. Will 16 and 27 reduce? Nope. They're going to just stay as is. So 16 over 27. Okay? Are there any a's on top that will cancel with any a's on bottom in a tug of war? Are there any a's on top that I can combine with any other a's on top? So how many a's do I have on top? A to the 21. Do I have any b's on top that will tug of war with any b's on bottom? No. I have 2 separate b's on bottom though. Agree? So those are like bases that I'm multiplying, so I add the exponents. So I'm going to add 18 and 28 together. That's going to give me 46. Did I do that math right? 18 plus 28, is that 46? And this is my answer. I purposely went slow through it, saying the same type of terminology over and over. Okay? And it'll start clicking. It really will. Okay? Do me a favor, will you pass forward that information? Please.
Is our homework page 5?
It will be, yep. Yeah. Let me teach this real quick. I'm sorry, I booked the whole day. You have a lunch period, I know. Getting them? All right. Last two items. Last two that we're going to hit upon. I'll pass out another sheet to y'all. Actually, I don't really have to pass it out. I think you're going to see this pretty quickly. We'll try and hold it down. All right, so we have two last things that we're going to cover real quick. It's fast. Okay? You don't necessarily need... let's just make it official. I already made copies, so... All right. Just kind of go kind of quick with these. I think we'll be okay to take a look at it. So I'm going to look at these last two properties. I'm looking at this one, which that one is x, y raised to the n. So what happens on this is this distributes here into here, and that gives you an x to the n, y to the n. It becomes a power of a power. An example of that type of problem right there would be let's say we had 3x to the fourth raised to the second. Now before we were saying, hey, how many 3x to the fourths do we have? And you would be able to respond, well, there's two of them because that outside exponent. So now we're going to bring this exponent in, here and here. So that gives me 3 to the second x to the 8th because of the power of a power. And then 3 to the second is 9, so I get 9x to the 8th. So I bet you on that sheet you could find some that were like that. And then the only other one we need to just talk about real quick is the very last one, which is this one, which is a very similar property, but it's dealing when you have a fraction. So if I have x over y, and the whole thing's raised to the n power, this comes here, and it comes here, giving me x to the n over y to the n, which then says, an example would be like this. Let's say I had 3x to the second. Hang on, give me a sec, please. Let's say I had this. This comes here, and it comes here. So I get 3 squared, which is 9. X squared squared, which is x to the fourth. Y to the third squared is y to the sixth. Your assignment tonight is the next 2 pages, which is pages 5 and 6, please. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Yep. Bell to bell. Woo! You too.